We were talking earlier about this connection between, eco-activism, goddess consciousness, divine feminine consciousness, and I would like if you could share how that manifests for you, in particular in relationship to the Amazon.
Well, definitely. I mean, I grew up in quite a patriarchal culture. I grew up in the British aristocracy, which is not conducive to uh, the feminine power flourishing. And so for me, it's been a long process of healing the wound of the patriarchy in my family lineage and in myself. And definitely by going into the Amazon, I felt for me it was like, I was saying this to you earlier, people see the Amazon as the lungs of the earth. It's now seen also as perhaps the heart of the earth because of the rivers of water that are running. There's double the water above the Amazon than there is in the Amazon, which is incredible. And it's this incredible sort of cycle and pump that goes on between the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific, the Andes Mountains, and the Amazon rainforest itself. This huge pump that powers weather systems all through Latin America and the US. And so it's seen as that sort of the heart of the world. But also for me, it was like it was a womb. It was like I felt that, in my own sort of life journey, career journey, and my own personal healing journey, with the steps that I took when I went to the Amazon for the first time, it literally felt I was being reborn, and I was to some extent. And and she feels to me, people often refer to, Mother Earth, Gaia, and the Amazon as a she. And it felt like I was literally going back into the womb and being like rejigged. And it's been an incredible journey sort of going through that. I mean, the Atwa culture that I spend a lot of time with, they are pretty patriarchal, but you can see if you spend time, a lot of when I lead trips there, a lot of the Americans are like, my God, they're so patriarchal. It's like, yeah, but wait and watch and listen and see that dance of power. And the women are very, as we know, true feminine power is not in conflict with masculine power. They fit and they dance beautifully. When everyone is aligned, there's this beautiful sort of reciprocity and appreciation for other. And so I see in the women, they make the chicha, which is the sacred drink that the Atwa drink, and the men are not allowed to touch it. They're not allowed to prepare it. They're not allowed to do anything with it. And you can see this sort of beautiful dance with that happens between the masculine and the feminine. And a woman will take a while and not listen when a man calls for chicha, or maybe a fly will drop in it, and she will not notice that because only she can take it out. And it's sort of if you watch and you listen and you're open, and this is the same in any culture, you can see how the feminine is strong and is powerful. And what's been really beautiful as well over the last however many years I've been working there, 16 years, is to see the rise of the feminine within leadership. And then, right now there's the vice president of the Atwa Nation, who's a woman, and the last president was a woman as well. And it's like, and the men have a deep respect for the feminine, the feminine wisdom. And, and I see that eco-activism is part of that. It's the women who are on the front lines. When I'm out there, in indigenous marches, it's the women who are marching at the front. It's the women who have their babies strapped to their backs and on their chests, who are out there. When I was at the Inter-American Court of Human Rights with the people of Sariaku, this incredibly brave woman, Ena Santi, who was there, who'd lost her husband in this sort of battle to protect their land. He'd been terribly badly beaten, and he died of blood clots in the brain 9 months later. And I think she had 11 children at that point, and then David was the 12th. It was born up just after her husband died, and she was there on the stand at the Inter-American Court of Human Rights, breastfeeding her child. And the power in that femininity is just, and on the front lines, always in every indigenous market, it's the mothers, because the mothers understand what they have to do to protect their children. And for me as a mother now, I mean, I was late in the game. For any of your listeners watching, I was late in the game having a child because I was busy on the front lines, and it was later. And then, universe said, no, now, because you're getting on a bit, girl.
Yeah.
And so I had my daughter at 43, and she was just such a gift. And, I'm so excited to be bringing her into the jungle now. But for me as a mother, part of being a good parent and a good mother is eco-activism. I want to create a safe place for my child to grow. And so the little tiny bit I can do to protect Mother Nature, Mother Earth is part of my mothering, and it's part of and being a mother, sort of leveled up my eco-activism, because it's like giving her good, clean food and putting her in a good environment, and eco-activism, it's all one and the same for me.
Would you say that your experience of being a woman, being a mother, being, feminine, divine feminine, whatever that all of that means to you, would you say that the Amazon has shifted that or changed that for you in some way?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, understanding, my family of origin, my father, I mean, literally lived 2 centuries ago. In his world, a good woman was blonde, skinny, quiet, sexy, and like to drink. That was literally his perfect woman, and he was rather perplexed at spawning me, and so I was always told, I was too butch, I was too blokey, I was too, big, I was too brunette, and I wouldn't go and get the highlights done, and and when I went to the Amazon, I saw these women who were incredibly feminine and incredibly strong and powerful, and that gave me sort of permission to be me in a way. You can be strong and you can be feminine, because I think that was, I found it in my own culture that was not really, I mean, it's changing now, but particularly because my father was so of a previous century, growing up within that sort of understanding, it was hard. And I'm naturally strong, and I'm naturally, want to be out there with, I love being out there with my machete and going through the jungle, and wearing my feather earrings, and and the women of the forest do that so well. And there's power and there's gentleness within all of them, and so they've definitely inspired me. And then, but also the forest herself, she is utterly loving, gives you everything you need. She's their pharmacy, she's their hardware store, she's their grocery, she's everything. She provides so much, and yet she can be fierce as well and ferocious. And I think that dwells within all of us, and allowing all those different parts of us to accept all those different parts of us. She's definitely helped me to do that personally.